I suppose the first question has to be, what made you get into music?
That's a funny question. I literally just answered that just before this interview started. So it was initially just a want to eventually be part of ABBA. And I was about 5 years old, wanted to eventually be in the band. I was really disappointed to find that was never going to happen. But I learnt piano or keyboard when I was 7. Didn't do a very good job. There was a girl I liked who was a good singer and was looking for a guitarist to sing with. And so at the age of 10, I thought, okay, I'll start playing guitar instead. And I found that I liked that a whole lot more. And just in the same way that I didn't get into ABBA, I didn't get into that girl either.
Those of you that don't know, you're no longer playing ABBA. You've actually moved on to another style of music.
You don't know that. I might still play ABBA.
Maybe in your spare time. Namely, you've moved on to playing blues, which most people sort of know you for.
Yeah.
What was the reason? What was the calling? Why did you go to the calling of the blues?
Well, I would say we play blues rock. And for live, we tend to kind of tilt it more towards the blues thing, and the studio always ends up being a bit more rock-y. And the way I got into that was just my teacher taught me the blues scale when I was 13 or 14, and then at the start of every lesson he'd say, okay, we're going to jam, and that's going to be our warm-up. 5 minutes is just playing over the 12-bar blues with improvising. And I remember one day I just really sort of got it, and I felt it, and maybe I realised I was never going to be in a band with that girl that made me start playing guitar. And I just really felt the blues that day. And I remember going home and listening to Johnny Winter and Gary Moore and just CDs that my parents had lying around, and just really, really loving it. And for me, it was just another level of music that I hadn't really experienced before, just through listening to the likes of ABBA and Shania Twain and Good Charlotte. Not that those three really go hand in hand, but they were the three I listened to most. Bit of Avril Lavigne in there as well. But it was just a feeling that I hadn't got from those musicians who I'd listened to previously, and I just rolled with it.
Yeah. And now you regularly are playing at Bristol and stuff, or house?
Yeah. Well, Bristol
Blues,
the Capital Blues Club, which bases itself at the Hotel Bristol, have supported me so much ever since I was 14, which is when I first showed up there with my Gibson Les Paul, which was my first really nice guitar.
Yeah.
They've always supported me, and they had me playing there with headline shows from when I was 17, which is amazing of them, really good, because I was just a kid who was trying to play guitar, and they helped me out. So we play there quite a lot. We're playing there on the 8th of September with our EP launch again, so that's our next show there.
You do seem to imply that there are other people in this endeavour with you, namely your band, the Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah, it's just the Smoking Barrels.
Just the Smoking Barrels, because you kept changing it. You were Two Smoking Barrels,
Yeah.
Went back and forth for a while, and now you're the Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that I actually really would like to know is, how did you guys form?
It's a really boring answer. I'm sorry. It's I spoke to one of the people who is at the Blues Club a lot. That is Julie.
Yeah.
Julie Lamb, very nice woman. I said, can you recommend any musicians? She recommended to me some musicians, and I asked them to play in my band. It was a bit more than that, I guess. I was playing with an old school friend. I was playing guitar with an old school friend. He didn't come around to play Lego with me. We met up and had a jam, and we decided we wanted to do some gigs. And so we asked these guys to play just for one or two one-offs. But we really gelled, and so I asked them if they'd be happy to play with me and my solo stuff on an ongoing band position.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, Callum is your bass player and Andrew is your drummer.
Yeah. Well, apparently Mick Jagger Charlie Watts punched Mick Jagger when Mick Jagger referred to him as my drummer. So I'm not going to call Andrew my drummer or Callum my bass player.
You just mentioned you've got an EP coming out. Do you have any other stuff, any other albums or stuff that you've recorded, or is it just the EP?
So we have Midnight, which is the first album that was recorded start of 2013, came out I think start of 2014. There was a really long incubation/mixing period. That one was the first one, and it wasn't that bluesy at all. I got to be honest with you. It was rock, but with pop and bluesy inflections. So that was that one. But we don't really play the songs from it live because I feel like I've moved on musically a lot. But this new EP, which is just 5 tracks rather than 10, as Midnight was, this new one is features a lot in the live set. Which is
So
cool.
yeah, so 8th of September it's coming out and the world gets to hear it.
Yeah, well, the official release date is the 9th, and that's when it will be for sale online, but it'll be for sale on the 8th at Hotel Bristol. Had to remember the name there. Yeah, it'll be for sale with the physical copies there.
Yeah. Where else have you played? And do you have any particularly memorable gigs that you've had?
I always like that question, memorable gigs. So we've played a lot around the North Island. We haven't played South Island so much. We're making our first foray down there in September. But we played lots around the North Island. We played Wanganui a few times towards the end of last year. It was weird. We ended up having a few gigs, or run of a few gigs, which was great. And the first gig we played there was amazing. It was one of those freak nights when, for no particular reason, it just absolutely packed out. And in the car on the way back, we were all saying to each other, like, this is the night we should have stayed. We should have stayed tonight. Why are we driving home now at 3 a.m. sober? Because we should have stayed over. There was, like, the party would have continued.
Yeah, so apart from that, we'll just remind everyone that you've got the gig on the 8th of September, new album coming out.
Yeah.
And a possible tour. Do we have any possible tour locations?
Yeah, well, it's a definite tour, and we have definite tour locations. We are... just to backtrack there. Yeah, the 8th of September at Hotel Bristol, and that's the album release. On the 9th, we're playing at Zeal, which is an all-ages show, because Hotel Bristol is R18, unfortunately. That's the album launch.
Yeah.
So the album's called Before We're All Dead, and I'm thinking that the tour's going to be called the same. And we're going down to the South Island. We're playing, I can't remember in which order, but certainly Kaikoura, Christchurch, Methven. We're going down to Queenstown. We're playing Nelson. We're playing Golden Bay. We're playing a few. It's quite. I think it's like a 9 or 10 date tour.
Oh, pretty impressive.
Which will be a bit of fun, yeah. So if you're watching this from any of those cities, be sure to check out the shows. It'll all be announced online within the week, hopefully.
Yep.
Within the week of me saying this, probably not within the week of me seeing this back on YouTube. Yeah.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you. Thanks
This
for having me.
wraps up the first episode.
Cheers.
Hopefully there's more.